Welcome to this edition of the Native News Update. I'm your host for today's program, Paul Demain. Many of the stories read here can also be found at our website at IndianCountryNews.com. Here is the news for the day from the Associated Press and other Native news sources. Nebraska authorities are asking for help to identify the remains of a man they believe is Navajo and who passed away more than 3 decades ago. Nebraska State Patrol Sergeant Dana Carell says investigators don't think there was any foul play at this time, but they just want to return the bones where they belong. Investigators have recreated a clay face using forensic science. Carell says the man was in his late 20s when he died and may have been working on the Union Pacific Railroad. The remains were found in the late 1970s or early 1980s in Morrell County, Nebraska. Carell said authorities think the man might have been Navajo because the Union Pacific Railroad brought in crews of Navajo workers at that time, around the time the body was discovered. Information and a look at the reconstruction can be found at www.daily-times.com, and you use the search words Navajo and Correll, or Korell. Should be able to find that. A small group of protesters who continued to block a bridge yesterday between the Tyendinaga Mohawk Territory and Prince Edward County are undercutting efforts to end the dispute, Native leaders say. Protesters barricaded the Skyway Bridge, which spans the Bay of Quinte, in support of the Akwesasne Mohawks dispute over the arming of border guards in Cornwall, Ontario. The protests, which started Sunday at about 6 p.m., began only days after the head of the Akwesasne Mohawk Nation there asked Native communities to lobby politicians in support instead of launching blockades or a similar protest. The Akwesasne Council sent an email last Friday to reserves across Canada and the United States saying they could lose support from the public and politicians if there are disruptive demonstrations. The Supreme Court on June 8th turned down an appeal from tribes that wanted to block expansion of a ski resort on a mountain they consider to be sacred. The justices said they will not get involved in the dispute between a half-dozen western tribes in the Arizona Snow Bowl ski area north of Flagstaff, Arizona. The tribes want to block the expansion because the resort plans to use treated wastewater to make artificial snow on the mountain. The tribes have argued that the proposal violates a federal law on religious freedom, but the Federal Appeals Court in San Francisco last year disagreed. The full 9th U.S. Circuit Court of Appeals in San Francisco said the treated sewage could be used on the ski slopes, reversing the decision of a 3-judge panel on the same court. The panel had held earlier that using wastewater on a mountain sacred to the tribes would violate the Federal Religious Freedom Restoration Act. The full court, however, said the tribes would still have full use of the mountain for their ceremonies and the snowmaking would not affect that. No plants would be harmed, no ceremonies would be physically affected, and no places of worship would be made inaccessible, the court said. The tribes asked the Supreme Court to step into the case and find the use of treated sewage water would constitute a substantial burden on the tribes' exercise of their religious freedom. After more than 45 years, the days of the Umatilla chemical depot near Hermiston, Oregon are numbered. The depot is preparing to incinerate its hefty supply of mustard gas, the last chemical weapons stored there. The disposal facility should be taken down by the year 2013, but after that, the future of the 20,000-acre site is less certain. The U.S. Department of Defense will shut it. The 12-member local reuse authority is stepping its efforts to decide what happens to it next. Bill Hensel, a Umatilla County Commissioner and Chairman of the authority, said the Oregon National Guard has expressed interest in using part of it for desert military training. Tribal representatives there have suggested maintaining much of it as a natural area. Still others have asked about industrial development or storage in the hundreds of igloo structures that house the chemical weapons. Kim Pusey said he expects some combination of those. It's going to be a collaborative decision, and I think that's what the Department of Defense intends, said Pusey, general manager of the Port of Umatilla and an LRA member. I think we're going to have an interesting mixed-use facility after it's all over. Governor John Baldacci has signed a bill to tighten Maine's 9-year-old state law that bars the use of the word squaw for official place names. The word is offensive to many Native Americans who say it's degrading to women. But since the law was passed, some communities have tried to end-run the restriction by using shorter versions of the word or combining it with another word to form place names. The new law would forbid that. In signing the bill Monday, Baldacci said that one of the things that stands out about Maine is that it's a welcoming community that supports tolerance and respect for others. Joining Baldacci at the signing was the bill's sponsor, Representative Wayne Mitchell, the Penobscot Nation, and several other co-sponsors. Kevin Sickey has been re-elected to a second 4-year term as tribal chairman of the Coushatta Tribe of Louisiana in a runoff. Sickey, who received 202 votes Saturday, June 6, defeated former tribal chairman Loveland Poncho, who received 174 votes. Sickey will be inaugurated, or was inaugurated today at 10 a.m. in the Coushatta Multipurpose Complex. The oath will be administered by Chief Tribal Judge F.A. Little Jr. Kenneth Wayne Wilson II and Gerald Poncho were elected last month to 4-year terms on the Coushatta Tribe of Louisiana Council as well. The St. Regis Mohawk Tribe will set up its own tribal electric utility. Tribal members there approved creation of their own electric utility by a margin of 445 to 102 during tribal elections last Saturday. It will cost about $13.7 million to build the power plant and distribution system on the reservation, which borders the U.S.-Canadian border in northern New York. The tribe will also have to pay National Grid a $4.3 million exit fee. Mohawk leaders say running their own power plant will result in lower delivery rates immediately and protect the tribe from future rate increases while enhancing its inherent sovereignty. About 11,000 residents live on the New York side of the reservation. The Mohawks are joining at least 9 other tribes who already own and operate their own public utilities. The 2009 Healing Circle Run Walk is intended to be a prayer for healing that helps bring together family and community, and that run walk begins July 11th at the Lakoutere Ojibwe Reservation in northern Wisconsin and ends on the 17th, connecting 8 Ojibwe reservations in Wisconsin, Michigan, and Minnesota together in a healing circle. If you want more information on that run walk, you can call 715-682-6619. And finally, save the date for Great Lakes Indian Fish and Wildlife Commission's 25th anniversary at the Big Top Chautauqua in Bayfield, Wisconsin. That's on July 2nd, a Thursday. Join Bill Miller and his Blue Canvas Orchestra on the deck there in a community fish boil, all of that starting around 4 o'clock that afternoon on July 2nd, and free to the community. And that is the latest roundup of news from Indian Country on this issue of the Native News Update. We want to thank our underwriters for helping us with this broadcast, and certainly you for joining with us again. You have a great day. Miigwech.